This is Dr. Quinlan with Quinlan Chiropractic Clinic from Coppell, Texas, and you're listening to the Dunham Business Radio Show.
Hi there, this is Lori Dunham with Dunham Business Radio. We won the 2019 Gray Bowl Show of the Year. We also got an award for community service, and I can't thank you enough for all of your support. We are on the next level, and we're going higher, and I can't do it without you, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, and stay tuned in.
Live from Arlington, Texas, it's the Dunham Business Radio Show. And here's your host, Lori Dunham.
Good evening, everyone. It's Lori Dunham here with Dunham Business Radio. Thank you so much for tuning in. What a wonderful, fabulous day we are having here in beautiful Arlington. But it's even better because you are here with us. Thank you so much. Please ping your friends. Let them know that we are here. We have an amazing guest tonight. We're going to talk about something that really we haven't talked about before. So I'm excited to do that. And of course, we have our international guest co-host. Not really even a guest much anymore these days. She's a permanent figure on our team. So huge following of her own. Rashti from India, welcome back.
Hi, Lori. How are you?
I'm amazing. I'm having a great day. How are things?
Yes, I'm excited. I'm excited today. And you know why.
Why? Yes, I think. Tell me why.
My favorite topic, that's the core interest that I have. That the guests they are going to be amazing today, I know. So that's why I'm excited.
I think you're going to take the lead on this one.
Very much.
All right.
I'll be throwing all the questions today.
Well, okay. Well, I say let's just jump in and get going. But first, let's remind our audience, if you've got questions for our guests, go ahead, drop them in the comment box, and we're going to try to get to them to the end of the show. If we don't, no problem. They're going to be monitoring the box over the next couple of days, and they want to engage with you. So just put your comments in there. Let's hear from you. Ask your questions because this is where it gets really a lot of fun. So, Rashti, what kind of expectations do you have for the show?
Oh, today's show, actually, I feel like, I really don't want to say anything at the moment because then I'll reveal the core thing. No, I don't want to do that. No.
You let the cat out of the bag. Don't want that.
I don't want to say it now.
Well, okay. So you're on pins and needles. I say, why don't we just go ahead and jump right in, right?
Yes. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, Alicia and Shawn Rizzo are the owners of Kraken Motorsports in Fort Worth, Texas. In 2019, they won the business plan competition. It was sponsored by the Fort Worth Economic Business Development Center. Shawn has been in Texas over 20 years, most of which has been included automotive and racing. And he's well respected in the performance industry and has become known for his unsurpassed level of quality and attention to detail. That is a key right there. Alicia's from Connecticut, and she has loved cars since she was to a grasshopper, right? Little kid. She's always been surrounded by car enthusiasts and parents who enjoyed bringing her to car shows, and they taught her that she could do anything. So it was no surprise when she arrived in Texas that she joined a grassroots race team and has been involved in racing ever since. They're here tonight to share their journey on as being an entrepreneur and to share all of their insight and wisdom with us. So please help me make welcome to the show, Alicia, and Shawn Rizzo. Welcome to the show.
Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to have you guys. Thank you so much.
We're super excited to be here. So
Awesome, awesome. So let's just jump in real quick and just kind of start from how I first met you. I learned that the business plan competition sponsored in Fort Worth by the Fort Worth Economic Business Development Center. How did you learn about that contest, and why did you sign up to participate?
So I had reached out to the Small Business Development Center. When we decided that we were going to open our own business, we created a business plan, and we knew that we needed somebody other than us to look at it. So I connected with Cynthia at the Small Business Development Center, and when she looked at it, she looked at us and she was like, "You guys have got to enter this business plan competition that we know about, and you could win like $10,000."
Was that the grand prize for the contest?
Yeah, it was pretty great. So it's the grand prize wound up being, I think, like almost $50,000 worth of prizes, with all the different consultants, right, and everything that you got to be a part of, the chambers and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm a little competitive. So is he. So we got really excited, and we went home that evening and looked into it, and it wound up being just a phenomenal way to start our journey. That's for certain. So yeah, we just jumped right in and had to rewrite a whole brand new business plan for the competition, but it was well worth it.
When it comes to technical background and racing, we are super competitive. I agree on that part.
So did you guys already have your shop in place when you entered the competition, or was that after you won that you opened up?
No, we had the shop in place, not for very long though. Maybe the competition started, I think, right at 3 months after we opened the shop was when she had her first class and started kind of getting into it. So it was open, but still very new. Yeah.
Yeah. What's really awesome, I'd like to, say that Dunham Business Radio would like to partner with Cynthia in the Economic Development Center, because I would like to interview the winners every year, right? And so to be listed as one of the promotions, one of the ways to be promoted is you get to go on and be interviewed by us. So
yeah. They would love that.
Maybe your experience will transcend. You can tell her all about how much fun we're having.
I am happy to, because I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah,
that would be great for us. I mean, we help entrepreneurs. We talk about their journey, which is why you're here. So, to be able to interview future winners would be just a win-win. Win-win-win.
That's it.
Yes.
So, okay, so let's take us through the journey. Like, tell us more about your shop. What exactly does your Kraken Motorsports, what do they do?
So we are a Japanese import performance shop. So we work on Japanese makes and models of cars, include Subaru, Nissan, Honda, Toyota, Mitsubishi, anything that comes out of Japan and Asia. We focus primarily on high performance. So anything that makes your car go faster, stop better, turn better, mechanical performance of the vehicle. We do maintenance, we do service, we have the ability to do those things, but we focus mainly on making the cars better. Our clientele consists of everybody from high school kids who want to, make their car loud and put an exhaust on it and sound cool, to professionals who want to build a $100,000 track car and go out and race, in some of these big racing leagues like NASA and SCCA. So it kind of runs the gamut of people that we deal with. So.
Wow. And so your professional experience, I mean, you're a leader in the performance industry. How did you get started in that?
So I started working on cars out of necessity. I've always been fascinated by cars. When I was a kid, I was one of those kids that would sit and pore over car magazines and books and memorize stats and figures. I could tell you 0 to 60 times and horsepower and all that sort of stuff. And when it came time for me to get my first car when I was 16, obviously I wanted a sports car, right? I wanted something cool and fast that I could And my dad had a boat, and he wanted a truck to pull the boat with. So we compromised, and I got a truck. So
not really high performance when you think about it.
No, not at all. But my dad said, you know what, I'll tell you what, you know, if you want to fix it up a little bit, I'll give you a little bit of money every month, and you can do some things to it, because I know it's not really what you wanted, but it was a car. And at 16, I was not, you know, that picky. But,
yeah, and at Wheels, you could go to A to Z.
Yeah.
I had,
listen,
nice, I had a bicycle at 16, so with a baby seat on the back, because I would carry my brother around with me everywhere. So, you know, to have a truck, souped up or not, you were definitely in a better position.
And I had a little Chevy Eurosport back in the day, which was just a Chevy Celebrity with like a little spoiler on the back. Oh yeah.
The worst car
It
ever.
frightens me that I know what that is. So. Hey, but you know what? I have calves to die for now, because my pedal is.
So he would give me a little bit of money every month to work on the truck and do some things to it, but it wasn't a lot of money. So in order to get anything, you know, really cool done to it, I had to do it myself. I had the money to buy the parts, but couldn't pay somebody else to do it. So if my truck was not running by Monday morning, then I rode the bus to school. And you know, sitting on that school bus and watching my truck disappear in the distance as I pulled off to school was a good motivator to figure out how to get that truck back together Sunday night. So yeah, that's how I got started working on cars. And then it just kind of turned into a career later in life. And once I started doing it for a living, I realized, one, that I was really good at it, and two, that I genuinely enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed the element of helping people, and yeah, it just kind of stuck. So here we are.
You became a certified master technician or mechanic?
Yeah, ASE L1 master with my X1 and G1 certification. So it's quite a mouthful.
Great.
Yeah, it is. Hopefully the people in our audience know what that is, because you know.
It's basically the highest level of certification that a technician can receive from the American Society of Engineers, and which is the kind of the governing body for automotive technicians in the United States. And that's basically the highest rank that you can get with them. So.
Wow. That's amazing. And so, Alicia, you grew up around car enthusiasts, and like we read in the introduction, right? You've been around cars your whole life, and tell us more about your journey to get to Texas.
I did, yeah. My dad, I used to go to car shows with my mom and dad all the time. My dad restored old cars, so he had a 57 Chevy that he absolutely adored from start to finish. He repainted it and everything. And then I was a huge tomboy when I was a kid, and so my best friend, his family, he had two other brothers, and they had cars, and they all worked on their cars, and so I've always been surrounded by it. My brother-in-law started racing, and so that was pretty cool. But yeah, I moved out here. Shawn and I met each other when we were 11.
Oh,
wow!
I was 11. He was 12. And so his family came up to Connecticut to actually visit another family member, to make the story much shorter. So I met him at camp, right? And then that was it. Pretty much, we've been soulmates and best friends ever since. Yeah, so when I graduated college on the East Coast, it was kind of like this whole, dude, if we're going to do this thing, like, let's just do it. Enough already, because he lived in Texas. I lived on the East Coast. I moved out here, and when I moved out here, it was him and two of his friends. They had 300 ZXs, right? And they used to do some drag racing and that kind of stuff. And so you already had Team Squid Racing.
Yeah.
So we kind of built this grassroots race team. They started it with their 3 friends, Team Squid Racing, and then we just kind of kept expanding on it. And so I got very, very heavy into drag racing. I love drag racing. Pretty much, it's definitely my favorite style of racing, that's for certain. And so I drag raced for years and years. And then we both got to the point. Shawn was, working full-time teaching, and also he'd come home on the weekends, he'd be working on cars, and at night he'd be working on cars, and I was like, this is just kind of excessive.
I have to make an appointment to see you. It's not okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, hey, I've got a good job. I want to start my own business. I want to own my own business, and you want to work on cars. So let's just combine the two, and Kraken Motorsports was born.
That's amazing. Yeah, two passions come together. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So do you work in the shop full time then?
Shawn does. I do not. So I have a full-time job. I am actually a laboratory director at a local hospital.
Okay. Hey, thank you for being on the front lines during this pandemic. It's absolutely scary, and really appreciate you being out there.
Thank you. It's definitely, it is interesting. That's for certain, definitely a different time right now.
Yeah.
For healthcare.
I understand too that you're also a black belt Six Sigma.
Lean Six Sigma. Yeah, I'm almost like, I love process improvement. I drive my employees insane with it, and now I drive all of them insane with it. So
Great.
I'm like, why are we doing it this way? There's got to be a better way to do it.
Exactly.
And they're like, please stop changing things.
Just leave me alone.
Now, Roshni is a lean manufacturing consultant there in India.
This is
I know.
exactly. So I can totally understand what Alicia is saying, because this is what we go through. Whatever the process will be in front of you, everybody will say this is perfect, and we'll start thinking, no, there can be a better way out. No. The first thing that comes is no. There's something else we can talk about and we can think about. And when people say no, we are like, no, okay, forget it. I'm getting into it. So I can totally, I support you for that. Don't worry. I'm with you.
Thank you so much.
I'm very much an if it isn't broke, don't fix it kind of person.
Oh,
Yes,
and I don't like change at all.
That's
so
me.
It makes for some very interesting conversations at the shop.
Keep him on his toes.
Yeah.
Roshni, I think we have some foresight here, because we're about to embark on our own journey where she's my lean streamlining process person for the show. And
I'm her strategic planner. Can you imagine? I'll be applying my lean manufacturing system thought process entirely for her show. Can you imagine that, Alicia?
I love it.
And I'm going to enjoy doing it. Like,
That's the epitome of your portfolio right there.
Exactly. So we want everything working in a parallel way. And when everybody talks about just let's go linear. I'm like, no, things have to work in a parallel way. That's it. That's how we're going to make it work.
Yeah, we did process map the other day. So
Awesome.
I will actually be doing value stream mapping for Lori, which of course she doesn't know the terminology, but I'll be doing VSM for her.
Very nice. I love it.
I'm so scared right now.
I feel you.
Look, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But Roshni broke, so we got to fix it.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. They let me do a lot for free, as fun as that is. So yeah, it's so funny. I'm the only person at the shop that doesn't get paid, and so, but like I'm like the marketing director, the CFO, HR, and yesterday I got to be employee health. So yeah.
And now you're both marketing. You are.
She wears a lot of hats.
I just have a question over here. I just heard about Shawn teaching. So what does he actually teach? Is something related to the modification of cars itself, or is it something else?
Yeah, no, I taught at a technical school that teaches automotive technicians for about 8 years. Yeah.
Okay.
What did you like most about being a teacher and being involved in that industry?
I actually loved teaching. It was actually very hard to leave, even though what I was going to do obviously is my passion and I love it. It was still very difficult to walk away from teaching. I really, really, really enjoyed not just sharing my knowledge and, kind of helping prepare these kids for, for the industry, but being able to affect change in the industry by molding the people going into it. It was one of my biggest problems when I worked as a technician in dealerships and kind of the normal automotive world was the people that were around me, the other technicians and things like that. I had a lot of problems with the way that they saw their job and how they saw the customers and how they saw the business as a whole. And it really bothered me. And I struggled a lot with it, getting along with these people. Just a very, very different mentality. And it was really awesome to be able to instill that in these guys going out into because you're not going to change somebody who's been in the industry 30 years. Right. You're not ever going to get them to think differently. But these guys that have never done it before, you can definitely get them to think differently and then take that into the industry with them. So I love that part of it.
So in short, you were bridging up the gap between the theoretical and the practical. Yeah,
it was awesome. I approach working on cars very, very differently than a lot of my peers. It's a much more analytical, much more backside approach to diagnostics and that sort of thing. And there was a huge generation gap between me and most of the people that I worked with and just that mindset. So being able to, generate 1,000 little me's to send it into the field was pretty awesome. So,
start people off with some good habits.
Yeah.
We surely need more people like you.
Yeah, it's like a ripple effect,
Seriously.
Like you impart
because
seed and harvest kind of concept.
I can connect to what he's. I'm sorry for that. I can connect to what he's saying is only because whatever I studied during my mechanical engineering, everything was so theoretical. Like, even if I would try to convert 1-to-1, it's not going to match. Okay, so certain, of course, terminologies and the basic principles, of course, they remain the same. But when it comes to, converting my book knowledge into making a car, I'm sorry, I'm going to goof it up. So that's where we need people like Shawn, who are going to bridge the gap. And I can totally understand what he's talking about.
So, Shawn and Alicia, we interview entrepreneurs constantly. I mean, that's what we do, right? We talk about the journey. We talk about the challenges and the struggles and the successes. And one of the things that is kind of a common denominator that's kind of an unspoken that I've kind of identified or uncovered is that a lot of business owners, regardless of how long they've been in or whatever industry, they sometimes feel their business is therapeutic for them. Do you feel that way at all?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I think it gives you something else to really kind of put your heart and soul and your focus into. And I think there's a lot to be said with like he's there all the time. So all his effort and everything that he does, it all comes back to us, and then what we can push out into the community and how we can help our customers and such. I think you have this amazing platform now to really make a difference and really make an impact in other people's lives. It is an insane amount of work. Like if anybody opens a business because they want to work better hours, no. I can tell you not at the beginning, that's for certain. So.
Not at all.
But the misconception people have that if you have your own business, you can go on vacations. I'm sorry, that is not the case.
No, I agree with Alicia. It's incredibly therapeutic. Even the stress of having this business is therapeutic in a sense of, it's stressful and we have this problem that we have to solve. But once you solve it, you and your business and your employees and your customers reap all the rewards of that solution.
Yeah.
So even the stress itself is somewhat therapeutic in that, man, I get a chance to solve this problem for myself,
and you own it.
Yeah.
Not own it like it's my business, but like the full 100% accountability is with you. You know, you don't have to ask 7 other people for approval to do something. You know, you can make decisions and changes, and you're really the only one to blame for any outcome. Would not be very therapeutic, but there's actually something therapeutic in the simplicity of that.
Yeah.
Because then there's also that freedom to say, you know what, we need to do something different. And we're not going to do it this way anymore. We're going to try to do it this way. So
yeah, it's wonderful. There's so many things with a car that can go wrong, especially when you start putting 800, 900, 1,000 horsepower through it.
Exactly.
And it's really awesome to be standing in the shop looking at a motor that has blown up or something that has gone wrong and saying, we're not doing this right. So we're not going to do it that way anymore. We're going to do it this way now. And for that to be an immediate, effective change to make things better, you can't do that anywhere else. You know, there's so many times at my previous job when I was teaching where I saw a problem with the way we were teaching something, and I would bring it to my manager, and then he would bring it to his manager, and then it would go to the education team, and then it would go to the specialists, and then it would go to here. And 6 months later, I'm still teaching this the wrong way, and I'm like, what happened? We're working on it.
Sure.
No, let's just teach it differently. And it really bothered me a lot. So being able to make those changes immediately and make a product better is awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Yeah.
You own the message, you know, so I think being in the corporate world also, you know, there's always the message has to be kind of wrapped in this box with this bow on it, and you know, it has to be said a certain way, and you know, you have to act a certain way and that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of freedom in that not being the case. You know, it's whatever culture you want to create.
I can say whatever I want.
As long as on this show it's FCC compliant. So what's really cool, and you know, I totally get that, you know, being an entrepreneur, you get to make your own decisions and you get to have that empowerment, that autonomy to make those effective changes in both your business and the lives of other people. What are some of the downsides of being an entrepreneur, at least in your industry? You know, that's all good and positive, and it's well worth it. What are some risks that you guys take on besides making the wrong decision?
I think the first thing is it's incredible. There's a part of it that's just incredibly scary. So you have to make sure that you do not allow yourself to be paralyzed by fear. Yeah. So like in our business plan, you know, we had said we're going to hire our next employee, you know, at the very, like, it was like June or July of this year is when we were going to post the position. That was our goal. 18 to 24 months. Yeah. That's what the business plan said. And so we hired our second employee in January of this year. So 7 months earlier than what we had planned on it. And it's not that, wow, look at all the revenue and man, look at our profit margins are huge. Let's go ahead and add someone. It was okay, we have this business coming in and we need to hire another person to help get this done. It's that whole bringing them in so you can get the work done, you know, and that
hoping the money comes with them.
Yes. That fear that comes along with the unknown, you know?
For me, it's the biggest downside is, well, there's two. One is time. When you own your own business, there's never enough time for anything. You know, and no matter how much you do and how much you get caught up and how much work you do, there's 40 more things behind it. And I'm really bad about, one, I'm kind of a workaholic, but I'm also really bad about focusing on all the stuff I have to do. And she tells me all the time, she said, baby, there's always going to be a million projects to do. You're never going to get to the end. And that's a really hard thing for someone like me to understand, that there will never be an end where I can just go, I'm done. We finished everything. It's just not going to happen. But my personality is I'm striving to get to that point, and it's never there. It's like in The Shining, where the hallway just keeps faster you run, the longer the hallway gets. So, so that's the biggest one for me. And then the other one is the scariest thing for me is being a boss. Is the employees. I don't want to screw up their life. And
he's doing well.
And so yeah.
He's doing a good job. Being a boss is a new thing for Shawn. So but he's doing really well. You know, it's all about remembering the type of boss that you want to be, the type of boss that you hated working for,
yes,
and not allowing yourself to get that way. I have 40 employees at the hospital, so we've kind of really worked together on a few things, you know.
Yeah, thankfully she's been an invaluable resource for me to learn how to be a boss. And it's really funny because
he's already bossy anyway, though. Like,
yeah, so I totally get it, you know, being worried about having an impact in someone else's life in a negative way. I mean, you hire them, you don't get the money, you can't pay them, now you're laid off, right? So nobody wants to be laid off. Nobody wants to make a bad decision. How do you embrace that just going forward of just saying, well, you know what? It's part of the risk of having a business, you know, and but also being empathetic to the employee's life, you know. What do you do?
I think, you know, a lot of it is, like Alicia said earlier in the program, about not being paralyzed by fear. And again, just understanding all you can do is the best that you can do. And I think if I genuinely have the best interests of my business and my employees and my customers in mind with every decision that I make, that you can't really make a wrong decision. I mean, you'll make wrong decisions, but you still, you know, it's fixable. You can still get through it. And so I just have to, every time I make a decision, I think, is this going to benefit my business, my employees, and my customers? If the answer is no, then I won't make that decision right then. I'll wait. I will research it. I'll talk to her. I'll talk to experts. If the answer is yes, then cool, that's the right decision. Let's do it. Let's go.
So what's the criteria again? Good for you, good for your employee, good for your business?
My employees and my customers. Yeah.
That's awesome. You got to have a check in every box.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
you gotta do your homework, you know. And so, like, when we decided to hire the employees 7 months early, you know, we looked at volumes. We looked at how much is it going to cost, how much are the taxes going to add, you know. And we've only been open for a year and a half, right? Almost, year and a half. And so we don't offer health insurance yet. And so when we hire employees before that's one of the first things I talk to them about. I say, hey, you know, before I bring you in for an interview, you need to understand we don't offer health insurance right now. So we're extremely transparent. Do we want to? Yes, it's expensive, by the way. As an employer, you have to pay at least 51% of it in Texas. So it's expensive. So but yeah, so you have to look at the numbers also. So one of the things that I always like to do is I like to look at the problem and look at what the solution is, take the heart out of it. And it sounds a little mean and cold, but I like to take the feels out of it and just look at the actual situation. And then I bring all the people back into the situation, bring the heart back into it, and then I think you can make a really good decision. Because otherwise you get either too jumbled up and too crazy about the numbers, which I can have a tendency to do sometimes. We don't have oh my God, how are we gonna, have the money for that and that kind of stuff. Or we can be way too much on the heart side. Yes, let's hire 3 more people because it would be great to have more people at the shop and we want to grow and that would be wonderful when it's just not the right time. So, yeah.
How many employees do you have right now?
I was to just question that.
Other than the 2 of us, we have 3.
Shawn has 3. I have 4 because I count Shawn.
So are those employees trained under Shawn first, or how is it? Do you just absorb them for working?
No, they definitely. So our first employee is my best friend I've known for 30 years. I've known him almost as long as I've known her. He's never, before he started working with me, he's never touched a car before in his life, ever.
Oh,
Wow.
So I trained him from scratch, from nothing.
wow.
From nothing.
And he actually started training with Shawn 6 months before we opened the business.
Before we opened the business, yeah.
Yeah, so he had like 6 months worth of training first.
Yeah, and he's a phenomenal technician now. And
Amazing.
He's doing very well. Josh, who was our second technician we hired, he came in with some automotive experience. He had been working at a dealership. He had been working at a tire shop before that. So he had a good foundation. So I've just been working with him over the past 4 or 5 months on taking the knowledge he has and translating that into what we do. So yeah, I work very closely with them. I'm in the shop 100% of the time. My lift is right next to theirs. My toolbox is right next to theirs. So I'm there. I'm not in an office somewhere, in another building or whatever. I'm in the trenches with them. And so, yeah, we work really closely together.
Yeah, and then our third employee, Chris. So,
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It was very exciting. So his whole goal, so we created this new position called a customer performance liaison. So he's the person, he answers the phone, he puts quotes together, he works with the customers, kind of keeps the jobs on track, lets the guys know, hey, this person, can you give me an update for this person? And orders parts, all sorts of stuff. Works. I have someone that's there all the time now to help my process visions come into fruition. So that's exciting for me. So I don't have to, be there every day, which I don't mind being there every day, but yeah.
Do you have an opportunity to go back to the school and either hire the students that are graduating or maybe have interns come in and work in your shop as apprentices?
In addition to that question, have you ever come across any girls who want to get trained as a technician? Have you ever come across?
Yes.
Yeah, when I was teaching, I actually taught and mentored quite a few young ladies that wanted to work on cars. Several of them have gone on to become very, very successful in the industry. I actually just got a message on Facebook a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, that one of my students was just promoted, and she is now the lead diagnostic technician for the Southwest region for Tesla.
Oh my God. Wow.
She started as an intern at Tesla when she was in my
beautiful
my engine class 6-7 years ago. And so she started as an intern. When she graduated, they gave her a full-time position, and she has worked her way up. She's a phenomenal technician, brilliant girl. So one of the instructors at the school actually messaged me to tell me that she had gotten promoted again.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Congratulations to you.
He's an amazing teacher. I watched his class, which I think is, it's like he said, it was really hard for him to walk away from that. But I actually came and watched one of his classes one time, and I was just like, can I stay for like the whole semester? This is so cool.
Have you ever thought about having like a series on YouTube of Kraken making it happen?
Yes.
We have actually, me and my one of our partners, business partners who does our tuning, Calvin Dodson. We've talked about that so much. He really wants to get into that and do some videos and things like that. Right now, it's just about time. We have so much work to do. We have so many cars in the shop right now. It's just about, producing something like that, like a show like yours, producing it well, it takes an inordinate amount of time to do it well to where people will want to watch it. We just don't have that time right now. So in the future, I think that's something we'd love to do.
I really want to do one that's female specific,
There you go.
That
future needs to come soon.
See what?
That future needs to come soon, because he really has a good knowledge, and we need teachers like these, because so many students are losing out of, this kind of knowledge, which has to be so practical. Yes.
Well, we had so many plans this year, stupid COVID, right? And one of the things we were actually going to do is we were going to teach some car classes at one of the local communities that they're not an orphanage. That's the wrong word for them.
It's a kid's home.
It's a kid's home in the community. And so that got squashed, or put on hold because of COVID. And then we were also going to link up with one of the local high schools. So, they have one of those, the automotive program, where it's pretty cool. The kids learn how to do all of these, oil changes and basic foundational knowledge type repairs. Yeah. And so then they can go out and get a job at an automotive shop or something. And so we were going to do an internship with them, and everything got a little smushed this year.
We were going to do a workshop at the shop for women who wanted to learn basic maintenance on their car.
Yeah, that was going to be fun.
How to check their own oil, how to change their own oil, how to change a tire. It's amazing how many people driving cars right now at this second don't know how to change a tire.
Yeah.
Or those cars that don't have a tire.
Yeah.
There's cars that don't have spare tires in the trunk. You have to pay extra for a donut in the trunk.
Do you know? I know. We actually looked at one of those cars that shall remain nameless for the sake of your show.
I was shocked. In fact, I didn't know my car didn't have a donut until I had a flat. I had just assumed there would be a donut in the trunk, and there wasn't. Yeah. I opened up the panel, I pulled it up, and there's an air pump in there. I'm like,
that's not helpful.
What am I going to do with that? My tire's flat because I have a nail. I need a new tire.
Yeah.
I could not wrap my head around it at all. I was like, I'm getting a new car.
It's mind blowing, isn't it? I know.
I traded in my car. I got to have a spare. And that was the first question. Like, I'm sure that the car salesman was like, that's the oddest question I've ever had. Very first one out of the gate. I said, is there a spare tire in the trunk? He's like, yeah. I said, well, let me see it. Is it full size or a donut? I mean, he literally was like, I've never heard any. I mean, most girls want to know what color it comes in.
But to answer your original question, I have been back to school a couple of times. We've actually talked about doing an internship. As far as hiring people from the school, that's difficult because everybody coming out of the technical school is very entry level. We're not an entry level. We're not a point of entry for technicians in this industry. No. So
that ship has sailed.
Yeah, you have to have some basic knowledge. You have to have spent some time in the trenches at a dealership, diagnostic skills. So hiring somebody directly out of school would be a disservice to them and wouldn't benefit us much.
Who knows? We might grow though to the point where now we have like an oil lube technician kind of thing,
Possibly.
Something like that. Get a guy to come out, guy or gal, to clean the shop and do oil changes and alignments.
It's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to having your show on YouTube, another idea, I'll just throw it out there. You guys can digest it as you see fit. But there's college and high school students learning about film and radio and TV and video and graphic arts and whatnot. And they could come out and just like film you in the day. Or you could say, they're standing there operating the camera, and you're just talking to the camera saying, okay, today we're going to learn how to change the oil. And here's what we do. And you have to change the oil in the car anyway, so you might as well film what you're doing. So that eliminates the time problem.
That's a brilliant idea.
That's a great idea.
That's a really good idea.
Thank you, Lori.
Well, thank you. No, it's what we do.
I shall get right on that. That's awesome.
And I actually know somebody that could probably help you, so we might make a connection.
I will reach out to you then.
Yeah.
All right. That's even better. Roshni, what else do you want to ask him before we take a quick commercial break?
Not at the moment. I got my answers though. The questions were there earlier. I got it.
All right. Well, we're gonna take a quick break. Allow our sponsors to say hi to everybody. While we're gone, please put your comments in the box. We want to engage with you. and ask your car questions. Ask the performance questions. Like, let's get Shawn working for the dollar here, you know, like make him work for this interview. This is so much fun. We're having such a great time, and Shawn has got so much expertise and knowledge. Let's put him on a hot seat. So drop your comments in there, ping your friends, people who think they know something about cars. Let them put a question in there and let Shawn answer those. So we'll be back right after this. So stay tuned.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello guys, I'm Uthman from Morocco. You are listening to the Dunham Business Radio show.
How many times have you put off a project and end up cursing yourself for waiting until the last minute? My name is Dawn Shannon, and I work with highly motivated procrastinators. If you're tired of putting those projects on the back burner and want to finally get them off your to-do list, head on over to my website, jovistrategies.com. That's JOVI strategies.com, where you can download my free 30 Days to Done worksheet to learn how to get more done in 30 days than most people do in 90. No, really, do it now.
Your host, Lori Dunham, and we are having an awesome conversation with Alicia and Shawn Rizzo, the owners of Kraken Motorsports in Fort Worth. We're learning all about them, about the shop, about their entrepreneurial journey, and Roshni from India is also having a great time talking about lean, what is it? Lean
manufacturing.
Not manufacturing, but lean what? Lean processes, Six Sigma, right?
So lean manufacturing processes, yeah.
But in the auto world, I mean, they're not manufacturing anything. So it's lean.
No, the term itself it calls as lean manufacturing. The term is used everywhere, actually.
Oh, that's how much I know. That's
okay.
That's why you do the streamlining for the show. See, that's, you get the award. What have you learned so far from listening to their story?
Looking at Shawn especially, what I feel is like, we all need some good teachers like him when it comes to, technical training and studies, because many of the students are missing out from that. And in fact, I'm looking forward when they will start off with their YouTube channel of teaching all the technical education. So I'll be one of the students to really understand how he's teaching it so differently.
We will teach you everything.
So for mechanical engineers, I'm sorry.
I think if you actually do a video on how to change a tire, I think that's universal, Shawn. You could impact the world by showing ladies how to change a tire.
I used to change the tire of my car, and I remember sometimes men passing by in India, it's like a very unusual sight. So they would actually stare at me like, what is this girl really up to and what is she doing to the car? Don't worry, I can take care of it.
I got this.
I just got this.
I got this. Yeah. I took auto shop in high school. My senior year, leading up to my senior year, I was a very bad student. I had a lot of distractions and whatnot in my life, and so my grades suffered. And so in my junior and senior years, my guidance counselor said, you need to take advanced placement English and this and that, and I was like, not gonna happen. I can barely get through the basics. You want to take advanced? I'd still be in high school, So I was like, no, I'm not. So I decided I was gonna fill up my time, my schedule with all kinds of stuff that I would not normally be able to do. So I took classes in ceramics, in music theory, and guitar, computer programming. I learned how to program a computer on Apple using basic language back in the day. Okay, I just dated myself.
That's amazing.
So I learned how to do databases in basic language and how to, for those of you who have been around a while, type on the Tandy 100, good morning, put your name in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I did that. And print out little, dot matrix stuff on the dot matrix printer. Yeah, I did that. And then I also learned
ASCII characters.
communication and video and audio programming and production. I did home and basic wiring, home electricity and basic wiring. I can, to this day, I can put in a ceiling fan. I can turn off the power and switch out a light switch for a dimmer. I can change an electricity outlet. I can do those kinds of things safely without blowing myself up. But the one thing that I love the most, I never did home economics because I got plenty of that at home already. I didn't need that. And I didn't really care much for woodworking. So to this day, I have a hard time hammering a nail into anything and make it go right in. I mean, I can swing a hammer. I've got my own tool bag. I'm really proud of that. It's not a pink set of tools. I mean, it's a hard bag of tools, right? But the one thing I loved more than anything else was auto shop. I literally took auto shop for 2 years. I learned how to change my oil. I learned how to change the tire. I learned how to take out the alternator. And back then they had carburetors. Okay, they don't have them now, but yeah, I learned how to do all that. And I learned how to replace the headlights, the electrical work. And what was really great, I graduated when I was 17 and then went off to college, which, most kids did, but years and years later, got my first car from a tote your note lot. Okay. And it was a piece of junk. Awesome. It was a piece of junk, but it was my piece of junk. It was a Pontiac T1000. It had an AM radio that only played the Grand Ole Opry. That's it. It had a coat hanger for an antenna, and you had when you got out of the car, you had to kick the door shut when you got out. Otherwise, when you're driving, it was a 3-speed, and while you're driving, the door's rattling because you couldn't shut it all the way. Seatbelts didn't work. Passenger side would roll when you stopped and started. It would move up and back. But I never had too many passengers in the car with me. It was kind of like that old country song about, what was it? Something like Billy Ray Cyrus, I think, did a song about the car, and nothing works but the radio. That was my car, but it was only played Grand Ole Opry. But one day I got a flat. I'm coming home from work, and I was in my skirt on the highway. I knew exactly what to do. I cracked up, jacked up the car. Those old jacks too, with the long steel, pipe, and you had to put it right in the right spot and raise it up. And I was on the highway changing this tire, and I mean, I'm in a skirt, a rayon blouse, and I was just doing my thing. And you think somebody, this is before video, so thank God nobody got a picture of that or a video, but you think stop and say, hey, let me help this lady who's in a skirt? No, they were like, hey, she's got it, let her do it, but I'm so grateful for the auto shop experience in high school that taught me those life skills, and I don't know if they teach that stuff anymore. It's so important to have a mentor.
Actually, I don't know, right? We don't have any kids, so I have no idea if they still have auto shop and home ec.
Yeah, I don't know.
And stuff, I learned everything from my dad and from my friends' family and stuff.
I learned everything from books and breaking stuff.
That's awesome.
That's the best way of learning. That's the best way.
Yep.
Literally, you dismantle something and then you're stuck. How do I put this back?
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't have any choice but to figure it out yourself.
And then I didn't have a car for a week. So.
And then you go, wow, this looks like it's put back together. Wait, what's this screw for?
There's always a couple extra bolts left over. It's fun.
So every time we do a project together, right, it's hysterical because we do all the work on my car, and there'll be like 1 or 2 bolts, and he's like, no, that's a little one, it's fine. And I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah, it's
I
the
know,
big
I know
boats
why
that are
she's not.
burning now.
I know why she's not agreeing on the small bolt. Also, is because when it comes to, I know the background is like, for the people who really follow system, for them safety also matters. So they know a small bolt can also cause an accident.
Yeah, a big problem, right? So yeah.
No,
Yeah,
don't worry about the
everything,
small ones. You worry about the big
No,
boats.
the size of the bolt determines its importance, right? Little bolt,
Yeah.
it's important. If it's a big bolt, then you really have to work.
Oh.
You got a bolt this long left over when you're done. That's a
That's a
problem.
problem.
You gotta find where that goes.
But our brain works saying that there is a reason why there's a small bolt too. Our brain will work in that direction.
That's it. Yes. Completely. Yeah. Shawn has taught me everything I know about as far as like the performance side goes, and dropping transmissions and swapping out clutches and rebuilding engines and that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, she built her car makes 580 horsepower.
Wow.
And she built her own engine.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Girl, that's awesome.
she's no slouch when it
Yeah.
comes to working on cars at all. So
My only downfall is there does come a point in time when you have to torque down the head bolts that I can't get past 100 pounds.
I have to do the last 20 pounds because we torque them to 120. So she can't get it past 100. So.
I'm like almost hanging off it. He's like, no, don't hang. Like, fine, you do it. I give up. You got it.
Well, you guys have been amazing. I've really enjoyed this time, spending time with you. Before we go, we usually ask our guests to give our audience a wisdom nugget. Right? They're 98% entrepreneurial. They're on a journey just like you've been. You're still going on your journey, but there's something in your experience that could potentially give them hope and inspiration to keep going. So that wisdom nugget, what do you think you could offer back to our audience to help them?
You want to go first?
I'm going to go back to, we've talked about it a couple of times throughout the show, which is you cannot run a business and be ruled by fear. You have to jump into it with both feet. If you go into running a business with any sort of trepidation about, can I do this? Should I do this? You shouldn't do it. You need to be, I know I can do this. We're going to do this, and not let the fear stop you from chasing your dreams and making it great. There's going to be downfalls. You're going to do things wrong. Don't be afraid to make those mistakes. Just don't be ruled by fear.
Nice.
Absolutely.
That's good. I like that. Mine is, you are never alone. So ever. So it doesn't matter if it's just you and you're opening your own business and you are going to be a solo act, you are still never alone. There are so many, there's so many people out there that are just resources that are there to help you, and free resources, by the way. The Small Business Development Center and the SBA and your local city. I mean, it's just incredible. And your chambers, your local chambers, I highly encourage anybody to make sure that you are connecting, because we're going into we're in year 2, and I still to this day will shoot an email to Cynthia and say, hey, do you know someone I can talk to about XYZ, or someone I've met somewhere from networking? I'll pull out their business card, or I'll call Lori and be like, hey, Lori.
Other entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So you're not alone, even though sometimes it might feel like you are. You're really not. You just have to take that moment to reach out, and don't be afraid to reach out, because it doesn't mean that you've failed or that you're lesser than what you are. You're smart, and you're being brilliant, actually utilizing resources that are out there for you. So
the most amazing thing to me about the business plan competition was how many people wanted us to succeed. People who had no idea who we were, never met us before, didn't know us from Adam, and genuinely and wholeheartedly wanted us to be successful. It was unbelievably amazing.
Yeah. You have a lot of cheerleaders out there. You just don't know it yet.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I love that you said, you know, you can call Lori, because I mean, I interview entrepreneurs all the time, and that's what we do. So we would love to be that one-stop shop for all of you. I mean, not just for the Rizzos, but for everybody listening. If you need to find somebody that's been vetted, because we vet everybody who's been on the show. We just don't let anybody on here. So, you know, the people on here, we try to, you know, it's the highest of quality, you know, and that has the most inspiration and the funny, you know, we love to have fun around here. But if you're looking for somebody who's been vetted, somebody who is, you know, good quality in our network, I mean, call us, email us, send us an email and just say, hey, we're looking for this person. And if I don't know it, then I can find somebody who does, or go get them and have them on the show. You know, that's what we do.
Nice.
And as far as, you know, being in fear, yeah, I mean, you can't. There's a good fear and a bad fear, and, you know, good risk, bad risk. There's all of that. But the fact that you're chasing your dream, you're following your why, you're passionate about why you're doing things and the outcome that you desire, that's got to lead you, right? The fear is just, it just, basically it's your conscious doesn't want you to get hurt. And so if you can calm that down and say, look, I'm not going to get hurt. I know what I'm doing. I'm confident. Then that fear goes away, you know, and learning from your experiences, you know, it's so important. You're not failing. Like you said, Alicia, you're not failing. As long as you're learning a lesson every time you move forward, every time you take another step, you can look back and say, wow, I'll never do that again. Like Shawn with the engine, you know, we're never going to do that again.
Right.
Don't turn that knob. You know?
Well, it's also about not just saying I'm not going to get hurt, but for me, it was more going into it with an acceptance that I was going to, and it's okay. I had to go into this with the acceptance that in order to get my fear to not go away, but be able to deal with my fear, I had to just sit down and go, I'm going to do things wrong. That's okay. I'm going to have setbacks. That's okay. I'm going to get hurt financially, emotionally, physically. That's okay. I'm going to do it anyway.
I think it's because it's worth it. I mean, you think about, you know, when we started this business and we had this vision for this business, it was all about creating this place where people could go and not feel embarrassed to ask a question. You know, you walk into some, especially when you get into specialty type shops, you can walk in and they make you feel stupid for any question that you ask, or completely overcharge you, or take you for a ride,
or ignore you completely.
Yeah. And we didn't want that. We wanted something that was inviting and just, you know, we're there for everybody. And I think sometimes thinking about what you're going to create helps shut up that fear, you know?
Yeah.
To say it's worth it. It's worth giving it a shot. You know, you'll never know unless you try.
Yeah.
Ever. So, and it's funny because what's the absolute worst that can happen?
You fail.
You fail.
Okay.
Really,
so then get your butt back in the workforce. You know, you go get another job. It's just, you know.
But you don't
and people are the ones who try. People are the ones who try are obviously, at least they tried, so they're failing. There's so many who don't even try and they just have nothing to say. Yeah. So it's better to have some actions. And in addition to that, I remember my dad, like, who's now above 60, he always tells me one thing, because he has mentored me for lean manufacturing in the entire training. And he only tells me one thing: at this age also, I feel I have to still learn so much. And you won't believe, Alicia, he still studies all the management books. He was with his own book. Yes. And he's about 60, and like he still sits. He's like, oh, we can probably think about this in a different perspective. And I'm like, okay, fine, we can do that. So he's still studying, and I feel like, no, you have a lot of experience. He's like, I feel even that experience is still less. There's way more in the world I feel I haven't yet accomplished. And I'm like, oh my God, if you're going to say that, what should I say? And I still see see him with all the technical books and the management books, and he's still sitting and studying. He's like, I'm happy doing my consultancy, and this is what helps me learn. And
Yeah. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just staying connected. And really, you don't really ever fail. You just have a different outcome. You know, I was talking about this not long ago with an entrepreneur. It's like you have an experience, that experience gives you an outcome, and you weigh the outcome as to whether it feels good or feels bad, right? And you can't change the outcome, but you can go have a different experience to get a different outcome, whether you're good or bad, whether it feels good or bad. And it's not about being a better version of the experience, about being a better version of the outcome. And so as long as you're learning, you're failing forward, is that a very common term? You're failing forward.
That's right.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep, absolutely. So listen, if you've got questions you want to ask Alicia and Shawn, there's still time. Put them in the box, the comment box there. They're going to be monitoring this over the next couple of days. They want to engage with you. If you're here locally in Fort Worth, how can they find you and bring their car in for you to take a look and maybe soup it up a little?
We are at 1929 Golden Heights in Fort Worth, Texas. It's Golden Heights Business Park. And we're all the way at the back, Suite 1104.
Golden Triangle.
Golden Triangle Business Park. Thank you.
We know where we are.
And yeah, come by the shop anytime, and we'd love to have you. Love to see you.
Yeah, you can give us a call. Our number 817-744-8240, or check out our website, just kraken-motorsports.com.
That's excellent. And what's your address one more time?
1929 Golden Heights Road.
Number 1104.
Okay, excellent, excellent, you guys. Thank you so much. When you were talking, the mic was picking up something I'm doing, and I'm just sitting here quiet, so I don't know what's going on. But wanted you to be.
At least it's not my cat, so that's good.
What?
I said at least it's not my cat, so that's good.
Well, I've really enjoyed. You guys have been exactly what I expected you to be. You guys are amazing.
I'm glad.
You know, business.
You guys are
owners.
amazing.
I've really enjoyed it.
Award. I think it's awesome. You guys should be so proud.
Yeah.
What did you say? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I say congratulations on your award. You should be so proud.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, there were several studios in the network, and in our little studio, there's many, many shows that record in that studio, and we won Show of the Year in that studio. And it's just
cool.
It's an amazing feeling, you know. But you know, I will tell you this one thing. It seemed almost the trek that we were on to get it kind of almost seemed easier than keeping it. So I'm grateful to have it. Yeah, but it's opening amazing doors.
Well, that's awesome.
There's amazing guests that have been coming on the show. You know, we interviewed you know, leaders in the industry, and leaders of business and nonprofit organizations and all kinds of amazing people. And I just absolutely, I love it. I love it. I love what I do. I love helping our audience and entrepreneurial journey. So definitely a good fit. So once again,
well, thank you.
I'm really glad you guys came on. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having us.
If you have additional comments for Alicia or Shawn, maybe a car question, or maybe industry question, a mentor question, or training or something, go ahead, drop your comment in there. They're going to be checking it out over the next couple of days. They want to engage with you. They want to keep that going. If you're here locally, go visit them at their shop in Fort Worth, and you know, be looking for the YouTube channel to come out hopefully in the future. We'll announce that. We'll make sure that's known. But you know, we really appreciate and love all of you for all your support and everything you do to make this show exactly what it is. We want to give back to you. So if you want to be a guest on the show, you know somebody that would be a good guest, send us an email, DunhamBusinessRadio@gmail.com. And until next week, everybody, stay on top of the world.
Thanks for listening to the Dunham Business Radio Show. Be sure to follow us at Dunham Business Radio and check out DunhamBusinessRadio.com for more info.
I'm on top of the world, now I'm living, and the good just gets better, keeps it giving. Not even close to the end, it's just beginning.